if you're not one-dimensional, if you're not just doing one thing, that is kind of what we talked about in the beginning, that comedy stars from Russian TV, they're mostly like one-dimensional. They have one type of jokes, one type of personality. But if you are actually like a smart, educated, knowledgeable person, you need this for comedy, but you can also use it for other things. And we talked about politics, where you can use it. You can also use it just in any other kinds of entertainment. I see more and more like comedians, comedy writers, comedy directors doing serious things, like Black Mirror, which is a serious prediction and kind of scary prediction of future, which is written and directed by a comedian. There is Jordan Peele, who now like writes and directs like horror movies and dramas.
So we can say that a comedy, stand-up or not stand-up, I mean whatever, but comedy is some kind of snapshot of society, today's society.
Yes, because comedy is always, it reflects society. For something to be funny, you have to understand it and know it like culturally and from your experience, from your life, from people around you and so on. That's why comedy is always a reflection and kind of satire of society. But if you see things that well, and if you can understand like the key points, what makes people tick, what makes this society run, then you can also, let's say, influence, or in some cases of people we mentioned before, manipulate this society.
Yeah, I understand this because you remember our approach during the classes. Sometimes to catch back the attention of our students, I try to make jokes. But now I face the problem that I have very multicultural classes, and I can't use the only joke for Russian that I was using with the Russian audience. So I have to change, but sometimes the multicultural classes have this problem that are not so connected to each other. So you have to try to use, I don't know, of course you make jokes about Trump, about Johnson. Of course I don't make jokes about the current president for the country that we live, and so on, but because I'm politically correct. Come on, I'm professor of politics, so I'm politically correct to this. I know where to stop. So I face, yes, this problem. But before to finish this podcast, I'd like to ask you a provocative question. Not to Igor, but to the comedian. Do you think that in the future we have to expect more comedian in politics?
I think it's fair to say that you can expect more comedians in everything, not only in politics, but as you said, like in art, in entertainment and so on, because I think these are the people who, besides just being funny, they see the world through some different lens, and they understand the world better than maybe some other groups of people.
So they feel the people. Yeah. They feel the people, they feel the society, they feel my lovely question, where we are going to from different perspective. From the perspective of a famous guy or a guy that has the control of the society, and even being a part of the society, because we have not to forget that a comedian, you are a part of the society, so you live the society, you are victim of the problem of society.
Yes, I think especially for comedy, especially for stand-up comedy, you always need to, because a stand-up comedian without the audience is not a stand-up comedian, it's just a person talking to himself. So if there is no one to laugh, if there is no feedback, if you don't get anything, you cannot do it. So we always need people, and because of this, I think stand-up comics learn how to work with people, and everyone starts with 10, 20, 50 people rooms, and then grows to 500, 1,000, 10,000, the whole stadium gets on TV, so it's millions. So you kind of start small and you grow bigger, and on every step you learn more and more who are these people who you are really talking to, who you are really trying to entertain, who you are appealing to. And I think this is very important characteristic to have, and it's very useful, especially in politics and some other spheres of life. So I think this is the advantage of comedians, and also because the whole comedy is like satire of life. You always joke about things that people will understand and be like, oh my god, yes, I had the same situation, or I had the same thought and idea. Oh yes, wouldn't it be funny if things would be like this? So you're always creating some satire, but to know how to create it well, you first need to know the society and politics and economy and entertainment and all these things you are including. You have to know it well. So I think also many comics are very knowledgeable about many things. So I do think that in the next maybe 10-20 years there will be more comedians on important roles in society, and not only politics, but as I said, like for example
Take notes on this, okay guys, take notes. Igor is giving some kind of forecast. I see in different way. I want to share with you my analysis. Analysis is the following. In the future, we could have a society led by comedian or actors or entertainers. So this is one point, but this means that the society is still ill. So will be ill, okay? Crisis, war, whatever. So we will reproduce again, but amplified. So for multiplied by 100 and so on, because we have to include China. We are not considering China, my best topic of my podcast, but even Africa or United States, we are not considering this. We are a bit Eurocentric in this podcast and this analysis. But if we have a society that is still ill, so we will expect more comedian or more like entertainers, so actors, anchormen or anchorwoman and so on. The other side of my analysis is that when politics will come back to take control of the society, this means that the society is gonna be less ill. So we'll have like a more healthy society. People will get like interest on politics on the time of politics, and will get interest on you, for example, as comedian on free time, and not in this like 24/7 entertaining or social media, let me say Facebook, Twitter or Instagram and so on. Or even now this, you heard about TikTok, yeah? Mm-hmm. So now like you share your video and you are becoming an actor for the world. I mean, this is my analysis. We have two pathways. The first one, society will become healthy, so we'll take back the previous pathway. Healthy society, politics will become the center of the interest of people for certain things. The second pathway is that we will have more Igor Mondae in politics, let me say. This means that not because Igor is like the problem, but because people is asking to forget about problem. So I need a comedian that manage my daily life, that find the problem, solution, for problem that I have. But this means that society is still ill, or more ill than today.
Well, yes, I agree with you completely. In ideal world, in like a healthy working world, politicians would do comedy and actors would act, and comedians would politicians would do politics and actors would act and comedians would do comedy. But I think unfortunately out of these two paths, as I see, the society is moving closer and closer to the one where we will have people will just require more and more entertainment, shorter and shorter. That's why we have things like Snapchat and TikTok and so on. Put it in 10 seconds, make me laugh, and so I can forget about, I don't know, everything
It's like
else.
a narcotic, yeah?
Yeah, and it's kind of because politicians are not solving actual problems, but they're just giving people reasons to forget actual problems, and that's why Trump will keep tweeting all the nonsense he's been tweeting so far, but like the actual things will not be mentioned, the actual problems. So if we could have like lawmakers, tax makers, politicians, and so on to do their actual work.
So you wanna say that I don't make my work?
I unfortunately, you are not the head decision maker of any country.
Unfortunately,
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I mean, unfortunately.
But if you would be the leader of some country and do it properly, then I could do comedy and not think about politics, and that's why my audience would be happy and ready to laugh at things and not sad and kind of come to our shows and say, just please don't talk about politics because I already see it enough in news and in the metro and talking to my friends. So just tell me some silly story that happened to you today and let me forget.
Yeah, I agree with you. Igor, I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Because it was wonderful to share with you some ideas, to know something new about comedy. And so for today is everything. So we'll come to watch your show on the 2nd of November. Can you tell me something more?
Yeah, 2nd of November we have a guest comedian coming from Scotland, Stephen Carlin, professional comedian that performed on BBC and on different TV channels in Britain, and he has experience of 15 years, and I'm sure like he will not be shy, and he will probably talk about some cultural differences and so on, because that is actually one of the big reasons we like to bring external professional comedians, because they don't know the situation here. They just
so they are free. They are free to share everything, and they know that they will never live in this country, so they can do whatever they want.
They are free of even this weight of having to cut some things because you think they're maybe too sensitive, people are too sensitive, so they just come and they do their material.
They come with a t-shirt, please deport me, you know, like,
and,
that's what we say.
And mostly it works well because people understand that it's different context, that they come from a different place. So, yes, and we have regular shows every weekend, so if anyone is interested to see more comedy, mostly without politics, because that is not a topic that people take lightly here, you can check us out at Steal the Show Comedy and just come to any shows.
Okay, Igor, thank you very much, and see you on Saturday, yeah? And thank you guys for listening to us, and stay connected with us. You can search a preview of this podcast on my Instagram page or even on my Facebook page. So next week, new topic, new guest, new podcast. Bye!